So you've been parachuted into a home that's got some challenges. And you're already starting to work out that people are reluctant to change. You're hearing the old phrase, "Oh, we've always done it this way. Not sure we need to do it any differently." Ring a bell?
Absolutely. I wish I had a pound for every time I've heard that. I'd be a millionaire. Yeah, it's the same old, same old. It's one of the most commonly used phrases in care homes ever. And yeah, you do get sick of hearing it. And you have to get to the reason why they don't want to change. Are they afraid? Have they tried it? They think it didn't work, so they've reverted back. There's been no consistency. Nobody's helped them manage the change process, and they've struggled to do what they thought was the right thing and got nowhere. So
Right.
thought, well, it worked when we did it that way. Let's go back to doing it that way again.
Yeah.
I've seen it loads of times. Yeah.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have in those care settings.
Yeah.
So how do you get people to understand the reason for the change then? Because the first part of any change kind of approach would be getting them to understand what some of the dissatisfaction with where we're at. And it doesn't mean to say it's necessarily going horribly wrong, or it could be, but it just means maybe it's not being done as well as it could be, or we're missing an opportunity to do something better for the residents. How do you get them to understand why they need to move? What's wrong with that current?
I think initially don't dismiss their history and what they've done,
Sure.
because then they'll just completely dig in and they'll dig in their heels and say, well, I'm not changing, definitely not changing now.
Yeah.
She thinks she knows it all. You just have to acknowledge that actually you've done really well in keeping this home going and it's been really tough for you. And I see that. Let's see if we can make it a bit easier for you. Let's see if we can make it better. We're not going to introduce massive changes immediately. It'll be a gradual process. But inevitably things do need to change to make this home run better, and to make your lives better and the lives of our residents that we're looking after much better.
I think there's a couple of really interesting points there. First is about not wanting to get that kind of reaction, straight back where it's like, well, it feels like you're criticising my way of doing it. So I think taking that approach sounds like it's going to make sense. But there's a balance between taking that approach but still saying that we need to go somewhere else, isn't it? But
Absolutely. And the change is about care quality. It's not about my management style or someone else's management style. Ultimately, it's for the benefit of the residents.
Yeah.
And it's shifting the focus basically from them to the residents, because that's why we're all there.
Yeah.
We're there to look after and provide support to the residents. The team are integral and crucial. Couldn't do it without them. There would be no home without them, but they need to understand that ultimately the residents are the main focus, and we can make their lives easier and at the same time improving care for the residents.
Sure. And I really like that focus on the residents because that's where the focus should be, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And quite often, in homes that are not working as well, or they have got those challenges, what's happened, I'm keen to find your views, but certainly my experience is that it's moved from a person-centred approach into almost like a transactional task list approach, and it's not happened overnight, but it's just kind of slipped into this institutionalised, maybe task approach. Is that something that you've seen too?
Absolutely, and you find it in a lot of established homes, not so much new homes that are being commissioned or being built, but established homes that have been around maybe for 15, 20 years. The team are given a list in the morning when they come on shift, so they're like, right, okay, I need to get room 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 up before 10 o'clock. I need to bath room 7, 8 and 9. I need to fill in these charts because they've not been done. Right, okay, so, and then they all need to be toileted at 10 o'clock. And I've seen that and I've thought, oh, wow, okay, where's the person-centred care?
Calling people by a number.
Absolutely,
or a room number.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was very much task-oriented, and it's shifting that mindset to say, well, actually, why are you not referring to room 1 by... that's Mary. Mary lives in room 1.
Yeah.
What does Mary need? What would Mary like? Oh, but I have to do this. And that's a very difficult thing to change.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when that kind of culture of institutionalised, task-driven care has been allowed to be in a home for a while, then it's difficult to turn around. But I think if we want to help people to change, I'm a big believer in the fact that we need to get them to buy into it, not just understand it, but also hear as well. They understand the benefit of it. You know, how do we almost like reconnect them with their purpose for being there? How do we reconnect them with Mary and Ethel and Brian and John rather than room number 32? You know,
Absolutely.
how do we get them to think in that different way and personalise it that way?
Yeah, and it's all about working with the team and collaborating with them. You want them to be involved in how we're going to do it, not if we're going to do it. We are going to do it, but how are we going to do it?
Yeah.
And it's saying, you know, we need them to collaborate. We can't stay as we are. It's just not an option. You know, we can't stay the same forever. Things need to move on, and this won't work. Residents and their families expect person-centred care. They expect choice. They expect options.
Sure.
They expect their loved one to be referred to as Mary or Mrs. Brown, whatever her name is. They don't expect to hear, oh, well, yeah, if you just go to room 1, or room 1's having that for lunch today. You know, and it grates because there's nothing person-centred about that at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not putting words in your mouth here, but it feels a little bit like a carrot and stick approach here. So you want to sell the benefits of changing our practice so the impact on the resident is better, but also you mentioned there that actually we are going to have to change. So there is a line in the sand, and at some point, you know, to use the old cliche, they either get on the bus or they have to get off it.
Absolutely. You need to draw a clear line. And, you know, I expect some resistance. Yeah, that's understandable. You're
Sure.
always going to get that. What I won't accept is a flat refusal to change.
Yeah.
And it's a case of we need to work together. If you're not willing or able to work with me, then that's a whole different conversation that we need to be having. And we need to involve the residents and families. Quite often the families in particular are forgotten. You know, if you've got a resident and if you're removing the task approach and you're having a resident-focused approach, you need to involve the resident and their family. How would you like us to look after you?
Sure.
What can we do to make your life so much better? This is your forever home. What can we do to make things better for you? Not, oh dear, you have to have a bath at 2:00 today, or you have to go to the toilet at 1:00. It's when it's your preference and your choice, and it's all about that one individual being at the centre of everything.
Sure. And I think when you're creating that change of practice and or culture, then the more people that can be part of that, then, you know, the more effective it's going to be, I guess, and the quicker you can introduce that change. I'm thinking kind of, you know, how easy is it to get that kind of momentum moving once you get enough people on board? Is there like a tipping point where...
I think there is. I mean, what I've done personally is I've gone in and shown them how I do the person-centred approach. I've sat down with it. I've invited the family, the residents in. I've gone through their care plan. What would you like us to do for you? How would you like us to help you? We don't want to do everything for you. We want to enable you to remain as independent as possible. And we take away that task focus. You let us know when you need to go to the toilet or when you want to have a bath or a shower or go to bed. And I did that with 2 or 3 residents, and I brought key members of the team in with me who sat with me, and you could almost see the light bulb going on. They thought, this is lovely, this is really nice. We're not running down the corridors because we've got 10 tasks to complete before 11 o'clock in the morning. We've got all day to do this. We don't need to rush. And it got to the stage where they were saying to me, okay, can I just go and do that one on my own? Absolutely. And eventually I had, I think, 3 seniors who really picked up, and they brought the carers on board. And I think once we'd got about 4 or 5 residents all involved, and the team, we'd about a dozen team involved, you could see things, the seesaw started to change.
Right.
It started to lift it this side instead of that side.
Yeah.
And it was lovely to see. And there was a lot of happy staff, a lot of happy residents. And you could see that they didn't actually realise that the change was taking place. It was just a natural progression.
And it's wonderful to hear you kind of put it in that kind of explanation, that context, because certainly a lot of the evidence and the models out there would say that once people start to see things change and there's kind of enough people changing, that we're more likely as humans to follow that group that have changed, and that it sounds like that's what you experience in the homes.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like a ripple effect through the whole home.
Right.
People who'd maybe been on days off would come back and say, what's different here? There's nobody rushing about. And the team were handing over, this is how we're doing things now. We've got rid of that bath and book. We've got rid of those task schedules. We're now focused on, okay, we've got a resident of the day today. This is what we do today. And it was amazing how quickly momentum picked up after that.
Sure. And think about how we as humans respond to change. It's kind of different for all of us, isn't it? It's unique, isn't it, in terms of the time frame. Some are very quick to adapt to change, some less so. But to what extent do you find yourself thinking on an individual basis, individuals in the team, about where they are on that kind of that change curve or that change cycle? Do you think?
Oh, you'll never get everybody changing at the same pace.
No.
We have some who just right away they got it. You could see.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, get it. And others were still quite sceptical. And it took them maybe sitting in with 2 or 3 and seeing how things were improving for their residents and for their teammates. Yeah. And then you had others who took quite a long time, and they were like at the end of the queue for the bus. It took them a long time before they thought, well, if I don't jump on this bus, I'm going to get left behind.
The bus is leaving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think over the years, I've only lost 2 people over about 20 years who just couldn't get on that bus.
Yeah. Good numbers.
Absolutely.
Very good numbers. Yeah. So I guess in terms of takeaway from me, some of the key things that I'm hearing is about really helping people to understand the reason for change. Yeah, not in a critical or judgmental way, but okay, this is what you used to do, but let's look at a different way, and let's look at the benefits, reconnect them with the reasons why they're there.
Yep.
So reconnect them with the resident and put the resident at the heart of that conversation. So not just so that they understand the change, but also emotionally buy into it as well, and accept that resistance is okay. Yeah, some resistance is okay, but I think your phrase was. Resistance is okay, but flat refusal isn't.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's a really, really kind of useful thing to really resonates with me. That so some resistance is okay, but flat refusal to change isn't. And at some point, the bus is going to go, and they have to get on there. But it sounds like there's lots of things that you can do as a manager to really get people thinking about it.
Oh yeah, and I think if you're enthusiastic and remain consistent throughout, that enthusiasm's infectious. And as more of the team become enthusiastic and become excited about what they're doing and happy, you see that change, and the change just washes over the rest of them, and you see them all coming on board. Yeah.
Fantastic. Once again, really insightful. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us today.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.